no gym access, no time, no home equipment, no problem. What's up guys, Ryan here, treadawaytraining.com, where we help busy professionals get more results in less time, guaranteed. Now, one thing that I hear often is people who want to get in shape, they want to get fit, they want to get stronger, they want to work on their body, they want to work on their health, but they say, I don't have access to a gym, I don't have home equipment, I don't have a lot of time in my schedule. Well, I'm going to fix all of those problems with this list. I have a list of exercises that can be done with only dumbbells from the comfort of your own home and aren't going to take a lot of time out of your schedule. Now, there are a couple notes that I want to mention real quick before I dive into the list. The first is that we want to make our exercises harder over time in order to continue getting results. If you do the same thing with the same weight, with the same reps, your results are going to stagnate and you're not going to be getting anywhere. So we need to make that harder. And the best thing that we can do is add weight. If you don't have that capability, if you don't have dumbbells, what you can do is the next best thing is to add reps. So let's say you have one pair of dumbbells and that's all. And you start out doing 3 sets of 10. Well, when that gets too easy, do 3 sets of 11, 3 sets of 12, 3 sets of 13. So just continue adding reps to make sure that those exercises are getting harder. The best case scenario is to add weight. So if you have the funds available, what I've done is I've linked 2 different sets of dumbbells below. And the first set is an adjustable dumbbell set that goes from 2.5 pounds all the way up to 52.5 pounds per dumbbell. And those are 119 the last time I checked. And the second set goes from 2.5 pounds to 100 pounds a piece. So pretty much all the weight that you're ever gonna need ever. And those are gonna be $240, I think. I haven't checked that. If I'm wrong, then I'll put it up on the screen to make sure that that number is correct. And then the last thing that I want to dive into before diving into this list is that these exercises are broken up into movement patterns. There are 6 main movement patterns that we have, and if you do all 6 of these movement patterns, then you are going to be hitting every muscle. And those are going to be your horizontal push, your horizontal pull, your vertical push, your vertical pull, your hip hinge, and your squat. I talk about those more specifically in another video and in a blogcast. They're both on the same topic depending on what format that you want to look at. I also have a free workout ebook that you can check out down in the description below, so make sure to check that out if you want to learn more about the movement patterns. If you don't care about the why and you just care about the what, then we're going to dive into this list and I'm going to tell you which exercise goes in which category. So as long as you're hitting each of the categories, you don't have to know why. You just have to follow the list. So if you want to learn more on it, you can. And then if you don't want to, you don't have to. And then the first category that we're going to talk about is the hip hinge. And the hip hinge is basically anything where the central part of the motion is at the hip. So we're thinking deadlifts, we're thinking hip thrusts, stuff like that. We're going to stick to exercises that I already have the demonstration videos for that I can throw up on the screen. So the 3 that I have for you in this list are the dumbbell sumo deadlift, the dumbbell deadlift, and then the last one is the Romanian deadlift. I know I'm showing a barbell exercise in the clip up here, but just know it's going to be the same motion but with dumbbells. So the one difference that we're going to be is in the video, I'm touching the ground with that barbell, but with the dumbbells, basically what we're going to do is we're going to come down as low as we comfortably can, as low as our hamstring mobility will allow us to, and then once we get to the bottom of that motion, then we're just going to reverse it and come back up to the top. And the next movement pattern that I have for you is the squat. And a lot of these exercises are going to be pretty obvious because they're going to have the word squat in the name. But there are a couple in here that you wouldn't necessarily think would be a squat, but are in here nonetheless. So the first exercise that I have for you is the dumbbell front squat. And then the next exercise is one of those that I told you about. It's a little bit sneaky. You wouldn't necessarily think about being a squat movement pattern, but it is, which is the dumbbell lunge. And similar to the dumbbell lunge, we also have the dumbbell step up. And these are kind of similar movements. And basically think about these as being a one-legged squat. And if you think about it that way while watching the demonstration videos, then it'll make sense and you can kind of see how that is a one-legged squat. And then the next exercise that I have for you in the squat pattern is the dumbbell sumo squat. And then I have the dumbbell squat. And then the last one is the goblet squat. The next movement pattern that I have for you is the horizontal push. I have 2 exercises on this list for you, and that is going to be the dumbbell bench press. And like I said, I did say you only needed a set of dumbbells for these exercises. So if you do have an actual bench, then obviously feel free to use that for your dumbbell bench. But if you don't have a dumbbell bench, you can use an aerobic box, which I have here. You can lay on one of these to be your quote-unquote bench. Or if you don't have either of those, then you can simply lie flat on the ground, and then let's just pretend that the desk here is the ground. So we'll be laying down, and then we'll be pressing the dumbbells, and then we'll do a floor press is what this is technically called. And so we'll come down until the backs of our arms touch the ground, and then we'll press it back up to the top. And the other exercise that I have for you in the horizontal push category is the weighted push-up. And which obviously you can do this without weight, which brings me to kind of a side note here. Every one of the exercises in this list is a dumbbell exercise, like I said at the beginning of this video. So keep in mind that for every one of these exercises, with just a few exceptions, there's going to be body weight variations, there's going to be resistance band variations, which resistance bands are super cheap. You can get a really, really nice set of resistance bands with all kinds of attachments for like $18 or $19. So make sure to pick those up. I'll actually link those down in the description as well. You might want to pick those up along with the dumbbells or maybe in place of the dumbbells. Moving on to the next movement pattern, which is the horizontal pull. Basically anything that is a rowing motion. So picture rowing a boat. Anything where you're pulling horizontally. So that row motion, you're pulling horizontally perpendicular to the body. Any type of row is going to be that movement pattern. So the 2 exercises that I have for you are the dumbbell row and then the single arm dumbbell row. The next movement pattern is the vertical push. So you're pushing parallel to the body, you're pushing straight up into the air. And the 2 exercises that I have for you in this category are the seated overhead press and the standing overhead press. And with the seated ones, you can do those with or without a backrest. If you don't have the backrest, then you're still going to be using those trunk muscles to stabilize yourself like you would be with the standing ones. And then there are so many different varieties you can do with these. You can do single arm if you want to, or you can do a neutral grip instead of a pronated grip. You can play around with these. Again, I'm only showing the ones that I actually have demonstration videos for you, is the only ones that I'm listing in this video. So there are so many more even on top of the exercises that I'm showing you here that you can do if you just have a set of dumbbells and that's it. And then the last of the 6 main movement patterns is the vertical pull. And this is going to be the one category that is a little bit difficult to sufficiently train with only dumbbells. And that's because with a vertical pull, the way you're typically going to do that is if you have a pulley that is attached overhead and you're going to be pulling that straight down in line, parallel with your body. And obviously you can't do that with a dumbbell because gravity's weighing the dumbbell down. It's not providing you any resistance. So, I guess you could technically come up with some elaborate way to hang upside down and then you can grab the dumbbells off the ground and pull them up towards the ceiling. But I'm going to venture to say that probably if you're watching this video specifically because you don't have much equipment, you're probably going to have no way of somehow rigging that up. So we're just going to pretend like that's not an option for this video. But what we can do is we can modify the 2 exercises that we talked about for the horizontal pulls and we can make them mimic a vertical pull. So with those rowing motions, instead of just pulling perpendicular to the body, so when you're bent over, you're going to be pulling straight towards the ceiling. Instead of pulling straight towards the ceiling, what you're going to do is you're going to pull up, but you're also going to pull back. So you're going to be pulling towards your waist at the same time. And what that's going to do is that's going to involve your lat muscles similarly to if you were doing a vertical pull. So that's how we're going to mimic a vertical pull, even though we only have dumbbells and we don't have a cable setup available to us. And then one other exercise that we have is the dumbbell pullover. And I know it doesn't look like a vertical pull, but I'm laying down in that video, so let's just look at me standing up and you can kind of see a little bit better how this is a vertical pull. So with that exercise, so we'll pretend that I'm holding the head of the dumbbell here and then I'm holding that overhead. So when we're doing that pullover motion, so when we're pulling here, you can see how I'm pulling down relative to my body, if that makes sense. So even though I'm laying down and I'm pulling up towards the ceiling, I'm actually, if you look at it this way, I'm pulling downwards. So it's a vertical pull. And that's all of the main movement categories. Now we're going to move on to some accessory lifts. And I'm not going to be talking about these in terms of movement patterns. I'm going to be talking about these in terms of the body part that we're isolating. And the first one that we have is the abs. So we have the weighted Russian twist. And then again, obviously you can do these without weights if you want to. And there are so many more exercises that you could do. For example, the dumbbell weighted sit-up, which I don't have a video for that one, so I'm not showing it up on the screen. That's why I don't have it written down in my list. But there are several other ab exercises you can do with dumbbells. You can do a side bend where you grab one dumbbell in one hand, hold it out to the side, and then you're pulling your trunk up like that. That's another option. The next category is the biceps. We have several exercises for this category because everybody wants to have nice arms. So what we have first is the concentration curl. And then if you have two dumbbells, you can actually put your elbows on your knees and you can do both arms at the same time straight out in front of you. Mimic a preacher curl, even though you probably don't have a preacher curl at your house. So that's another exercise that you could do. The next is the hammer curl and another variation on the hammer curl, which is the crossbody hammer curl. Then there's the dumbbell spider curl, which I know I'm showing leaning on an incline bench, but you can actually do this by putting your chest on anything. So you can lean over a chair and use a chair to support your chest and let your arms hang straight down that way. Basically anything where you can lean across and support your chest, you can do this exercise with. The next is a seated incline curl. Again, this is one that shows me using an incline bench, but you can actually use any chair to artificially create an incline. So what we're going to do is you're going to sit in any chair at all, and instead of sitting straight up in the chair, what you'll do is you'll puff your chest out and then you'll let your arm hang back a little bit, and you can see I've created this artificial angle in my arm relative to my chest. So you can see how I've made it like an incline curl, even though we just have just any old regular chair that doesn't have arms. And then last but not least, we have the good old standard dumbbell bicep curl. And next we're going to move on to the calves, and all we have for this one is just going to be a standard dumbbell calf raise. So what you can do for this one is you can get a 2x4, any just kind of block of wood. You can use an old textbook that you're not using anymore, maybe you don't care about it, you can use that. Basically anything that you can put under your toes to create that angle to get a deeper range of motion. You can use anything to put under there as long as it's stable enough for you to raise up on your toes. And then worst case scenario, if you don't have anything at all, which you probably do, to put under your toes, then you can just do it flat on the ground and just come up on your toes without having that increased range of motion, and you're going to be fine. Next, we have a chest isolation exercise, and we're going to do a dumbbell neutral grip fly. And similar to what I was saying about the dumbbell bench press, if you have a bench, obviously go ahead and use it. You can use an aerobic box, but I'm assuming you don't, and that's why you're watching this video. You can again do these straight from the ground, just lay down on the ground, and then it's the same thing. You're going to bring that fly out until the backs of your arms touch the ground, and when your arms touch the ground, then you'll just reverse that motion and bring them right back up the top. Next, we have a hamstring exercise. And I know in the video I'm showing using a machine, but it's going to be that same motion. The only difference is you're going to be lying flat on the ground. You'll put the dumbbell between your feet, and that's going to be where the weight comes from. Next, we have the lateral delt muscles, and we have the lateral raise to work those. We have two different variations here for you, and that's going to be the standing lateral raise and the seated lateral raise. Next, we have the rear delt fly, which is going to be basically the exact same motion, except for we're bent over forward, and so we're doing the fly backwards instead of out to the side. And I only have seated shown in the video, but you can also do this one standing as well. Just bend over forward and then do that fly motion. Next, for the triceps, we have the dumbbell kickback. Again, in the video, I'm showing a cable exercise because that's the only video I have for it, but it's the exact same motion. Just grab a dumbbell, hold your arm out to your side, and then you're going to be kicking your arm straight back with that dumbbell. And then another exercise that you can do for the tricep is the overhead extension. You can do these seated or you can do them standing. And another variation that you can do that I don't have the video for is if your dumbbells get too light, let's say you only have one pair of dumbbells or you've reached your heaviest set of dumbbells and don't plan on getting any more, one thing that you can do is go to a single arm overhead extension. So instead of coming straight back with both arms, you can grab one dumbbell, and then instead of coming straight back, you'll just come to the side. So this will be the top portion, you'll come down to here, and then you'll come back up, and that's going to be the whole motion. So that's another exercise that you can do for your triceps. The next is going to be your upper traps. We can do dumbbell shrugs for these, and you can do these seated or standing. Either way is fine. That's going to be two different variations for you. Seated is going to be harder because you don't have that option to get that little bump with your feet. It's harder to cheat when you're sitting down and you don't have your feet to raise up on your toes to give that little extra oomph, that little extra momentum. Next, we have a very, very often overlooked part of the body, and that is the neck. And I have two exercises for you here. We have the neck extension and the neck curl. So basically one's laying forward, one's laying on your back. So those are just opposites of each other. The last is the forearms. We have two exercises for you here. We have the wrist curls and the wrist extensions. And again, in the video, I'm showing it with a barbell, but you can do these with dumbbells as well. And then if you don't have a bench to lean forward onto to isolate that motion, then you can simply put your wrist on your knees to isolate the motion instead. And then as far as stringing these individual exercises together into an actual workout, simply grab a couple of exercises from each of the main movement patterns, and that's your whole workout. It's a whole body workout. If you're super crunched for time, then you can do these in a circuit fashion. I actually do this with a couple of my clients who are super busy, working a ton of hours. I have them doing workouts that are only about 20 minutes long, and they're getting good results. So, I mean, don't sell yourself short. If you have 15-20 minutes a day, then you can make progress towards your fitness goals. Do not just assume that because you don't have a gym membership that you can't work out, that you can't get fit. You know, we didn't always have gyms. People were fit before commercial gyms were around, before they were even a thing. So just know that you can get fit in any situation. I don't know exactly how many exercises that I covered in this list. I'm going to throw a counter up on the screen just for fun, but keep in mind, this isn't even an exhaustive list. Like I said earlier, there are so many more exercises that I didn't even list here because I didn't have a demonstration video to show you, but that's just the dumbbell exercises. There, like I said earlier, there's resistance band exercises. There's variations that you can do with resistance bands for pretty much any of these exercises. There's exercises that you can do with resistance bands that you can't do with any other piece of equipment. There are body weight exercises. The possibilities are endless. You can get in shape from home. Do not let that be an excuse that stands between now, the current you, and the future fit, healthy, happy you. So take these exercises and get to work. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Make sure to join us over on treadawaytraining.com Sunday at 3 o'clock for the Treadaway Training Blogcast. That is treadawaytraining.com/blog. If you enjoyed the video and you want to help more people out, simply just hit that thumbs up button. It does help get the video distributed out to more people. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to see more videos just like this. As always, God bless you and your family, and I'll see you Sunday.